mountain behind me. Haiti is beautiful. I am at the mountaintop in Laboule.
I'm Mademoiselle and Sassy Deuxième Canon, and today we are going to be talking about white Haitians, Polish Haitians in particular. Now, if you're watching this and you're Haitian, you probably never stumbled upon a white Haitian. Trust me, when I saw one, I was shocked. I have to let you guys know before we get started, we have merch. We have merch in the store. À l'acheter, okay? À l'acheter. Pas yon pile bagay, you know? Starting small beauty design idea, we met dim, okay? Voyons email bagay en bas. But à l'acheter. Mayo show. Let me stop. I play too much. You know how to be like, pate show? You get the joke? Okay, I'm sorry, that was corny. Let's get started. I've been talking shit about someone, and like they understand you and you end up being like, oh, excuse him, pardon. It happened to me for the very first time with white Haitians. Now check it. My family used to have a family restaurant, right? Way back in PA. It was called, you know what, I'm not about to even, whatever. The restaurant's not even open anymore. That's a whole long story for maybe another time. Maybe I'll make a video about it, whatever the case may be, probably not. So when we had this restaurant, one day a group of white people walked in, which is not unusual because this is Pennsylvania and most of Pennsylvania is pretty damn white. And this is like, this particular town is pretty white. And this was a Caribbean restaurant. And we were just looking at them like, please, I'm on like what these white people doing in here? Mind you, I was in high school, I was like 15 at the time. And we was just cracking up, talking shit, like literally cutting up. And they literally responded to us in Creole, and we were like, oh. And I mean white Haitians, I'm not talking about mixed, I'm not talking about mulatto, I'm talking about blonde hair, blue eye. You would never expect them to be Haitian.
Haitian?
Parce que je suis haïtienne, mais je suis blanche.
Ou mulat ou bien blanc?
Ouais, moi les blancs maintenant casser code dans bâtiment pour dégainer maïs chaud des pour nèg dit blanc maintenant tout sang en forme piqué.
Haïtien.
Je crois que mon pied haïtien passé 99,99999% haïtien.
Il y a des gens qui pas acceptent dans la communauté haïtienne, ils disent non, pas haïtien parce que clair.
Ah, mais tu es haïtienne, tu ne ressembles pas du tout à une haïtienne.
Je suis haïtien, je suis d'Haïti et puis la moitié dit c'est pas vrai.
On essaie de changer leur mentalité, la façon qu'ils pensent d'Haïti. Donc c'est comme une surprise pour eux, tu vois, on les apprend, donc c'est bien.
So keep in mind as you watch this video, if you ever come across a white Haitian, do not go up to them and try to diminish their Haitian identity. A lot of them get very offended and they are very proud to be Haitian. Many of them really do not play that, and they will tell you straight up like, no, I'm Haitian and I am just as Haitian as any black Haitian. So yeah, the only reason I'm using the term white Haitian in this video is because that is the way that I feel like a lot of you would be able to understand better. But yeah, there's no disrespect by using that word, by the way, if anyone comes across this and thinks I'm being disrespectful. Now, at the time I was in high school, which means I was very ignorant, and I was just blown away. Like, they spoke fluent Creole. Like, when I'm telling you, like, the better Creole that I ever seen anyone from Haiti speak. And we're just sitting there like, oh, like, we didn't know what to do. Things cooled down, and it was like, yeah, we're from the specific part of Haiti, and I believe they were from Kaza, right? Now, I kept this in my head, but I was so young, and I didn't really care too much to look into it at the time, and I didn't stumble upon another white Haitian until I went to Bloomfield College. Now, there was a girl that I knew who was also Haitian, and she was white. And I believe she was actually Polish as well. I'm not sure though. Don't think she was, but I'm pretty sure she was, now that I connected all the dots. But nonetheless, it was just so interesting to me. I was like, wow, like there's white Haitians, like, who would have known? It wasn't until there was this whole situation with my aunt. So if you guys have been here before, you would know I did do a story time about why I don't celebrate Christmas while I was decorating cookies. And I basically talk about how my aunt is like really like not right in the head, and she would lash out, break her stuff, and there's this whole situation where basically all of my cousins are traumatized and don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything like that, because we're literally suffering from a bit of PTSD to an extent. So it's funny because recently I asked my mom, like, yeah, why is she like that? And she was like, you know what, the only reason I don't hate her per se, I just don't talk to her, is a lot of us who really don't go off on her, a lot of us that actually tolerate her behavior know that she has a serious problem. She was actually really, really sick, and we had to send her to one of these white places in Haiti, and they took care of her literally on her deathbed and nursed her back to health. And I was like, what type of place is this? And she's like, oh yeah, she went to Kazan. So I was like, okay, what is this Kazan place? She's like, oh, it's a beautiful place. It's very, very far from where, you know, you visited in Haiti and where we live in Haiti, but it's beautiful, and there's other places like this and that. Like, she was just telling me all the places that the white people live and how they have great hospitals and all this. I was like, okay, let me look into it, right? So I have a best friend who is white and she's Polish. So way back during the Haitian Revolution, we all know everyone hated Haiti, okay? The Haitian slaves were revolting time and time again. Even though they failed numerous times, they did end up being successful. Ask any Haitian, they will tell you the short version of the Haitians conjured up, they stuck together, they fought off their white slave masters, and the rest is history. But there's a lot of shit in between. There's a lot of things that go into the Haitian Revolution and a lot of people that go into the Haitian Revolution. It was not just black people in the mulatto class fighting against the whites, even though that's mostly what it was. There were also white people and other people who helped, and the Polish were one of them. The Polish were sent over to Haiti to fight the Haitian slaves because they were told by Napoleon at the time, who was ruling over France, that they needed to go basically help with the slave revolts in Haiti. These soldiers from Poland went to Haiti under the impression of, okay, there's a slave revolt, we need to rectify the issue, bada boom, bada bang. But when they got there, they realized that these were slaves fighting for freedom. These were slaves fighting for the right to have rights as human beings. This wasn't some crazy slave revolt, and you know, it wasn't just these niggas going crazy and acting up. It was them literally fighting for a cause. So Napoleon, he didn't do it right. He picked the wrong ones. Poland at the time was going through something very, very similar with Prussia, Russia, Austria in 1772. So they too were fighting for their independence. So at this point, the Haitians and the Polish were like, oh, okay, we both got a cause, all right? We both want our freedom. So you know what happened? The Polish turned on the French and joined the Haitians in slave revolt and what ultimately became the Haitian Rebellion. It's very interesting to me because it's like, wow, like this really prompted me to think like, oh my God, maybe me and my best friend met in a past life. Like, I was like, oh my God, maybe we were like in a revolution. Probably not. But it's just so interesting to think about. Like, it's very interesting. Revolution is won, all is great, all is fine, and most of these Polish people ended up staying in a part of Haiti called Kazan, but there's other places as well, which I'm going to tell you in a little bit. And in exchange for their loyalty, Haiti granted them residency and basically ownership of that land, etc. And that's where many white Haitians do reside. Other places include, I have to pull out my phone for this, I ain't that advanced, okay? So of course we got Kazan, Laval de Jacmel, Font des Blancs, Port Salut, Saint-Jean du Sud, and Les Cayes. Those are the places that most of them have settled. Now the thing is with Haiti, Haiti is a very complex place. And due to its history, lost history, and constant dictatorships and all of this extra shit, a lot of stuff gets lost in translation, or some people just choose not to speak about certain things. If you have paid attention to the Haitian Revolution, you would know that Haiti has declared all the people who are citizens of Haiti as black to avoid all prejudice that can happen in the future. So technically, according to the founding fathers of Haiti, there are no white Haitians, but let's be real real here. We cannot all be colorblind. And it says all citizens are to be referred to as black, where all races are considered equal to avoid prejudice. There's actually a very, very small percentage of white Haitians living on the island. Therefore, most people don't really acknowledge the difference. Like, the thing is, when it comes to whites and blacks in Haiti, it's not the same as the whole white and black in other places, and the whole rhetoric of like racism doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but it's not the same. Like, just take for example the word neg. Right, so neg means man, person, just, oh, got a negro. But neg, of course, means negra, which means black. Well, that's where it comes from in the Haitian. Okay, it's not negro, it's negro, which is black in France. So when you see a black man, you're like, oh, got on a nexa. But let it be a light skin, a mulatto, or a white one, they'll be like, oh, T rouge, which means little red one. Or they'll be like T blanc, which means little white one. They will never call that person a neg. Like, it's just little subtle shit, and no one really pays attention to that stuff. If anything, Haiti has more of an issue with like poverty, political issues, and most likely a lot of colorism and classism. That's where the problem lies. But it's not mainly like a black versus white thing. Even most Haitians that I know that are here or live in other countries don't like have a problem with white people per se. If anything, they don't like other black people or talk a lot of crap about their own kind before they say anything about white people. Now that I think about it, it's pretty interesting to me. If anything, they just go, oh, that's really about it. But it don't be like to the extent of like really degrading them and saying anything. I don't know, comment down below if you know anything different or grew up with anything different. So a lot of you are probably commenting down below like, oh my god, how come I did not know about this? This is crazy. Like, why don't they teach us about this? Well, simply because, to be honest with you, the Polish people of Haiti are definitely a forgotten type of people. Not only do they live pretty far away from the rest of everyone else, they also aren't really seen much. Like I said, I literally saw my first white Haitian in high school, and if I didn't have that family restaurant, I would have never seen one until college. So it's not something that you see on a regular basis. They're not mixed in all around. Even the Haitian elites, like the rich Haitian, aren't even white. They might be mixed, but they're not white. It's very rarely seen. You'll see really, really light-skinned Haitians that are mixed, but you're not going to see many white Haitians, like blonde hair, blue-eyed, Creole-speaking Haitians. It's not something that you often see. So you're not really gonna question it because you're mostly gonna see Haiti as, oh, a black country, first black republic, end of story. Another reason is a lot of people purposely omit this information. Now, as you guys know, Haiti is the first black republic. If many people knew what this was, you know, if many people knew that Haitians had help, right? If people knew that white people helped Haiti gain its independence, they might strip the validity of the revolution and try to say that, oh, you guys didn't really do much. You guys had the help of white people. Yeah, no. It's funny because I actually stumbled across videos of people saying that. And it's funny because I was like, yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons. Like, people are already like, oh, these, they want to act like they all that. They want to say this, that, and third, but they had help. Like, okay, everyone had help. It's just like this current movement going on with black people and other minorities standing up for equality. Y'all not doing it by yourself. Other people will help me out, right? Like, I don't understand. I don't think it's that serious, but a lot of people do. There are many people who also believe that Haiti and Poland were Israelites and that was their common ground. Yeah, I had to go there. I'm tired of hearing about this Israelite stuff. I really am. But I mean, a lot of it may be true. Who knows? There's no truth to it. If that's what you believe in, that's what you believe in. But a lot of people believe that their commonality was that they were Slavic Catholics coming from Poland, and you know, Haiti was, you know, the true Israelites, and they band together. Listen, lots of reasons why you may not know about this history. There are also many Haitians who feel like Napoleon purposely sent the Polish people there to diminish their bravery. Honestly, depending on what Haitian you ask about this history, they're either A, not gonna know, B, not gonna care, or C, going to deny it or try to give you another reasoning as to why it's something that's not talked about. This is something, depending on who you talk about, they either don't know or feel some type of negative way about it. Because, like, you know, some people really feel like, oh, well, we ain't need that help. It's really interesting. But nonetheless, I feel like it's really amazing that people really came to help Haiti and make it what it is today. even though we had a whole lot of setbacks, trust me, we had setbacks. We had a whole lot of setbacks and a whole lot of, you know, political issues. I feel like Haiti is still a beautiful place. It is a wonderful country, and the history is absolutely mind-blowing. Kid you not, Haiti should definitely have a Netflix series, like just the history of Haiti, because it's insane. From Columbus to now, definitely a good 20 seasons worth of content. It don't even make sense. Like, a lot of this stuff is just wild. So with that being said, comment down below. Did you know about this? Did you not know about this? What do you think about it? Why do you think people omit this history? Or why do you think people don't know about this history? Like, share, subscribe, do all that. And I'm gonna see y'all next time.